Okay. Oh dear. I'm back with the dollar bill, and I believe, this is just, it's never ending with this decode stuff with the dollar bill. It's just absolutely immense, the amount of stuff that's in here. I have two dates. You've already seen them on the thumbnail, okay? And I'm going to show you how we get to these two dates, hopefully, maybe. And in order to save time, I'm going to assume that everybody that is watching this video has gone back, and if you haven't, you probably should. You go back and watch the previous decode videos. I mean, you could do what you want, but it would help. It might help a little bit in understanding what the hell I'm going on about here, because this is going to be really foreign to people that haven't seen my decodes on the dollar bill before. Okay, but basically, I've already drawn the fold lines in. Okay, just roughly, and the reason I've done this is just to speed this process up. Otherwise, we'll be here all night trying to show you this stuff. Okay, so this is actually off the back of an old decode. Okay, and you've seen it before. This is this bottom fold line. Okay, you find the fold markers that are right here, and one sort of underneath the line here. Now you can't see it very well, but they look like this. Okay, this little doodad guy here. That happens to be a repeat of the little owl up here for new people. Okay, those are fold markers. Okay, and that's where we fold the dollar bill so we can decode it. So this is where this red line's drawn. Now up here you can't see the little doodad because it's buried underneath the leaves and the decorations and the shield and the O and everything else. It's completely buried where you can't see it. But what you can do is you can match up the external sort of net pattern. So you see this piece here is repeated here. Okay, so we can assume that it's repeated underneath this leaf here, and I can see that it's repeated right here, and I can see over here it's repeated right here. If I could just draw it, okay, and I can just see the top of it right here. So it's not very easy to do, but you can match that pattern up, right? And that gives us where these folds should be. Now, where do I want to go with this? The easiest way is, funnily enough, it happens to come almost right through Washington's eyes, the middle fold, and then the top fold splits these two leaves here, this set of leaves right here, okay? And you can see where it roughly goes, okay? I might not have it dead on with trying to do this in paint, but that's roughly where that fold line is. You can get it almost dead on just by lining up the patterns, okay? And again, it's pretty difficult. It's not real obvious, but it is there, okay? Okay. So what if we fold this like this, Dan? What does it even matter, right? Okay, well, what this does is, if you've watched previous decodes, what we do is we count up leaves and berries, okay? So there's some separation between leaves and berries, okay? And we can use that to determine separate numbers. So like, for instance, when we just look at the dollar bill plainly, on this side of the dollar bill is the number 254 in leaves and berries, okay, which is 9/11, okay, the 254th day of the year. And on the other side, we have 213, okay, and 213, again, 213 is, interestingly enough, is of course the 13th of February, okay. And what is interesting about this now, what becomes really interesting, is if we were looking at these top leaves and berries here as a whole unit on the front of the dollar bill, that is 155. And so if you go from the 254, I shouldn't have erased that. If you go from that 254 and you do a 155-day jump, it will take you to the 13th of February. Okay, so we start seeing some interesting things with these, number jumps the numbers that are in the dollar bill. Okay. Anyway, what's interesting about these fold lines is it splits these numbers up differently now. Okay, so when the bottom of this with the dam here and the ruffles with the water flowing over the dam, I've shown you it before. Now when you bring that up and you remove this middle portion of the dollar bill here by folding this line up to this line right here, okay, what you end up with is let me get rid of this stuff real quick. You end up with a 33 now at the top with these leaves up here. Obviously there's a 2 over here still, and obviously there's a 2 over here still. Okay, but we've now found a nice 33, and obviously 33 is super significant in terms of death and rebirth. Okay, it's, if you like, the mirror line between one side of reality and the other, but it also symbolizes starting over again, and it's super to do with balance, of course. You know, the Holy Trinity, the sun, the moon, the earth, the 3 days at Christmas where the sun sits there before, at the end of one year to the start of the next year. At the solstice, the sun sits in the same place in the horizon supposedly for 3 days. You know, this number 3 is pretty interesting where it shows up. The 33-year cycle between the sun and the moon coming back into balance. Okay, so obviously Jesus dying and being resurrected at the age of 33. So 33, super significant. And now we have a 33 encoded within the dollar bill, which is pretty cool, I think. And also, when we add up, when we combine this, you know, this 23, 32 here, but what we really have is, let's make this a little bit bigger, what we really end up with is 55 on this top line, okay, which is pretty interesting. Okay, that is pretty cool, because of course, again, with the 155, you can go 155 days, then do another 155 days, and then do 55 days, and that is a full year. That's a full cycle. So that's an interesting way of splitting the year up. Okay, with the number 55. Again, where do I want to go with this? So I had always been looking at that as just a number jump between September the 11th and the 13th of February. But maybe make this small again. But that is also a day of the year. Okay, and we've got it on the thumbnail. It's the 29th of July. Okay, the White Wedding. Okay, I'm going to show you something with Billy Idol in just a second, and the song White Wedding in the music video. There's a really great re-reference back to Madonna and back to the Hoover Dam. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Hopefully I don't forget. But 729, okay, we've had a ton of 29 references within the dollar bill and within my other thing that I use for decodes, which is the chart of Lorraine. If you are new, I will show you the chart of Lorraine here in a little bit. But again, you can go back and watch previous videos and find out some information about that in the back catalogue, okay? But, of course, 729 is a really great reference back to balance, okay? Because at the center of the chart of Lorraine, we have the number 1118, which again, of course, you know, this 18 can be reduced back to a 9, okay? And of course, the 11 can be reduced back to a 2, okay? And of course, you've got your 911 in there. And a lot of people see 218 and they see, yeah, there's quite a few people that see 218s a lot. And also, if you add up 11 and 18, of course, it comes out to 29 as well, okay? So this is the importance of the number 29. And when you go into my chart, the 29 that is in the chart is in fact in the 7th column. Okay, so that's all important. Okay, and remember we did lose the number 7 as well in 9/11. That number, that tower was lost as well. Okay, so again, 3 towers in 9/11, forgot to mention that, and of course with the reference to the 111 days remaining in the year. So where do we even go from here? Okay, so we've got that the number 155 is the 29th of July. Okay, and that is the white wedding. That is when Diana, and the big white wedding, that is when Diana and Prince Charles got married originally. Okay, and again, the song White Wedding, I'll show you some links with it. Okay, because he does refer back to the Hoover Dam in that. I believe the references are to the Hoover Dam. He has some references to Vegas as well, but there are references back to the Hoover Dam within that, talking about the state line. That's where the Hoover Dam is, on the state line, okay, between Nevada and Arizona. And also he refers to turning holy water into wine, okay, which again, without going and spending hours talking about that idea, one thing we've got to remember is on one side of the dam the Virgin Mary is trapped, okay, the bathtub ring with the blue water, and then what that river actually is the Colorado, the color red, okay, the same as wine. Okay, all references I've gone through before, but for new people, just doing a quickie. Okay, so what's even more impressive about this split here with this top fold line, right, is that what we get underneath is the number 2 over here, and then the number 1 here, and with the 1 berry and the 2 leaves here. So what we have is 221 or 122, because if you remember, the 155 actually is read backwards. Okay, there's 1 berry over here, and then 5 leaves and 5 leaves. Okay, and then we're splitting those 5 leaves, which has given us our 55 at the top. Again, the 55, super important. With that is the, I'll go to the table in a minute, but that is the total for the metaphysical, the spiritual column in my table, and 88 is the total for the physical column in the table. Okay, so I'll get onto that in just a minute, but what we have here, this is just mental, is we have the number 33, right, and then below it, okay, we have 221. Okay, let me write it. Let me do it big again. Let me write it here in reverse. 1. Okay, and let me do it sort of digital. 2, 2. And now you see that 122 is a reflection of 155. Okay, which is pretty darn neat, because I've been going on about the 5 and the 2 reflectiveness, and I've been going on for that for a while now, but it's in here in the dollar bill. Yeah, 155 and 122 reflected. And if you recall, 122 is that famous train crash, numerologically speaking, the 22nd of October. We have those same numbers showing up, and I'll show you. There's actually an interesting number jump. I don't know if I've got it written down here. Hang on, let me have a look. It's actually 85 days. Okay, and remember, we have 85 down here with the leaves and berries, and we have another 85 down here with the leaves and berries. And then if you recall some of my other decodes, that could also be a 58 as well. But if you recall some of my other decodes, there is also a hidden 59 in here as well, which of course 59 and 29. Again, this is kind of reflective numbers again with the 5 and the 2, 5929. Okay, so what? We've got this reflected here, and what I was going to say was Madonna with Die Another Day, again, back to James Bond, and actually the James Bond I'm really thinking about is Pierce Brosnan, because he does GoldenEye. Remember, we just had Tina Turner die, and she died on, what was it? It was 245. It was I think it was the 24th of May. Oh, don't quote me on it, but that is Washington's reverse gematria. His forward gematria is 187. Okay, and we've done a whole bunch of stuff on 187. But his reverse is 245, and again, of course, 911 is 254. Okay, and of course, so we've got sort of a double reference with Tina Turner, and of course she sings the song for GoldenEye, okay, which is pretty interesting as well. And it's also interesting she has that. I haven't even been back and watched Mad Max, whatever the Thunderdome one is. I can't even remember now. I haven't even gone back and watched it. I need to. I just haven't got time. But again, there's probably a bunch of references in there as well. So anyway, just interesting with Tina Turner there, and maybe re-referencing the dollar bill here, re-referencing Washington. Pretty mental, really. Where do I want to go from this? Because I don't have too much bump up here. Come on, Dan. Think. I was going to say there's another interesting number jump with, and I can't remember what it is. Apologies, because yeah, I think the I can't remember what it is, but I think the hang on a minute. Well, I'm thinking out loud here. No, I'll talk about that one in a minute. Hang on. So we've done all that, right? 729, super duper important. There is a reference. Let me show you the reference before I forget to do it. Let me show you the reference in White Wedding with Billy Idol. Okay, so I've got it the section pulled up, and it's this dude here, right, in the crowd, as Billy Idol is marrying the whatever way you want to look at it, the metaphysical side of reality. He's taking that back in. He's taking control of it again. Okay, this whole thing's about rebirth. This whole idea is about starting over again, and you'll hear it in the lyrics. Yeah, nice day. It's a nice day for a white wedding. Nice day to start again. Okay, and that's what it's all about, is starting back over. Okay, so but anyway, this dude here. Okay, he's got a very unusual outfit on. I mean, they've all got unusual outfits, but this dude is looking mental here. He's got the unibrow. He's got really strong eyebrows, and this hat is just mental. And I only just spotted this the other day, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I've missed that for this long. It's so obvious. But I'm going to show you Madonna's video now, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is Who's That Girl, okay? And I just, it's just so funny, because this suit outfit thing with the hat on that she wore in this thing, it's just like, oh my goodness, what does that, I mean, obviously the grey of the moon, but it was just like, oh, it's such a bad outfit. But maybe it's made blatantly bad and sticks out, so it's so crazily bad for a reason to draw attention to it, so that you can make this connection here, okay, between the white wedding okay, and Who's That Girl? Madonna's Who's That Girl? Okay, and I mean, you're just not going to believe this. I will do the decode on it, but for anybody that's interested, there is I guess she's a hip hop. It's it's years ago. It's back around 2001. Um, what is her name? Eve. Of course, it's Eve. Eve Jeffers. Okay, and she has a song. Um, Who's That Girl? I think it's titled Who's That Girl. And it's the one that goes. Who's that girl? Dun 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 dun. Eve's that girl. Okay, is what the lyrics go like in the song. You'll know it, and of course it's obviously I think it's it's produced by Dr. Dre, so it's catchy and me sounding all I'm sounding so old, Dr. Dre, um, instead of just saying Dre. But um, yeah, there's a ton of stuff to do with. Uh, there's a ton of stuff with that character now related back to the dollar bill. Her birthday happens to be 10/11, okay, which of course is in the dollar bill. I've done the decodes on it before, and then she also has a couple of other songs which have some nice references back to all this stuff with the rebirth and the dollar bill. I mean, I think in one of those videos, she's wearing a. She comes out. I can't remember the name of the song, but she comes from. She comes kind of. I won't say through the twin towers, but she comes sort of under them, and she's riding a yellow motorcycle, and she's wearing when she finally takes her helmet off, and I think she takes some of her um, motorcycle. I don't know what you call them, motorcycle levers off or something, but I'm pretty sure she's got like um, a spider web necklace, which of course all this spider web stuff. It's a great reference back to the dollar bill. Okay, all this spider stuff caught in the net. It's all a great reference back to the dollar bill. Anyway, again, where does it end with all these decodes? I don't know. I think there's just so much stuff on it. I mean, if you're watching um, 88 Finis Temporis, then you know. I mean, he's just scratching the tip of the iceberg with his decodes. I mean, he's finding so much cool stuff, and every time I watch a film now, it's just plumb chock loaded. On the aeroplane back from England, I watched the latest. I think it's the latest Tom Hanks thing, Otto. Man called Otto, and it's got a ton. I'm pretty sure it's got a dam reference in it. It's definitely got a 9/11 reference in it, but it definitely has I think it definitely has a dam scene in it as well. I mean, it's got a ton. It's got a load of stuff in it, you know. Um, so I don't know where all these references end, but again, I mean, I'm starting to waffle here, but you know, it's there. It is there, man. The link with Who's That Girl, Madonna with the white wedding. Obviously, this links Madonna to 7/29, and of course, 7/29 is 4 days inclusive before um, before 8/1. So whether I don't know if the dam falls on 7/29 or if it falls on 8/1 is what I'm saying for the decode here. I'm not really quite sure. It would be interesting if Madonna were to croak it here real soon. I noticed she did. Thank you, Decoder Ring, for pointing this one out. She was in the hospital. She had some kind of infection, bacterial infection. Of course, the bacterial infection. Coming back home. I know that's a stretch for people, but this idea of getting back to the start again and coming back home, it's a pretty important one. And you'll see the backs it's just nuts, because once you start looking for the stuff, it's there. Okay. I forgot what I was saying now. But anyway, she was in the hospital. I don't know for how many days actually, and I haven't really looked into it properly. But I think she went in on, I'm going to say it was the 24th. I think that's the date. And of course, that then links in with John the Baptist, and it also links in with oh bloomin' hell, the Champlain Towers collapse, that condo collapse that happens to look like water coming through a dam if you look at the replay of that thing. So it's just nuts. But anyway, bloomin' hell. Where am I getting to on this decode? And I've forgotten what I've even said so far. But again, the tie-in with all this stuff is just nuts. Okay, I'm going to show you something here. Did I already do this? I can't remember now. So I've tried to do this video a couple of times. Here's the 8. Here's the 1, the nose, and here's the 11, which is the mouth. This is the middle of. This is the balance point. The eyes. This is important that they run this line through the eyes here, this fold line, because the eyes are the balance point. Yeah, it's the Vesica Pisces. That gateway is where you want to be at. You don't want to be stuck on one side, you know, in the dam, in the matrix, and you don't want to be stuck on the other side without the spiritual side. You know, if you're automatically on one side or the other, you're out of balance. You don't have both sides, okay? And again, with the, you know, without getting mega technical here, the guy to go watch about this is a guy called Apophasis I can't even remember it now. Theoria or something like that. It's Apophasis. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Theoria. Anyway, that guy, Ken Wheeler, over on that channel, he will explain the actual geometry of the physical world to you, okay, very clearly. And again, at the middle of that figure 8, again, is a point of balance, okay, depending on the way you turn that thing. There's also a plane that runs. Oh, blooming hell. I don't really want to do this now, but there's also a plane that runs through that thing. The plane of inertia. I don't know if I'm getting that the right way around, but that is the you know, or the plane of potential. Okay, and again, I think that is very similar in idea to the Vesica Pisces. Okay, that point at which both sides of reality are projected from, if that makes sense. That's the point of balance. That's the whole point of the world and everything around us, is this notion of balance. Okay, that got a bit wiffly waffly there, but again, that the middle of the dollar bill, and you can't fold the dollar bill in perfect quarters here. You've got to follow these fold lines. Okay, you can't just fold it in half and fold it in half again. So these 4 quarters that are here are a little bit out of whack with one another. Okay, but they are pretty close to being quarters. Okay, which is again more important with the information, previous decodes and stuff. Okay, but again, it's interesting that this middle balancing line is running through the eyes. There's a reason for that, you know. So I think I don't know if I've really exhausted all of this yet, but I want to show you a number jump now, right? Because it's pretty important. Okay, we have these 85s down the bottom here, and if we go from 55 at the top, and we go 85 days from May the 5th, so go from May the 5th, okay, you go your 85 days that's down here right by the dam here, okay, and that's going to take you to 729. What is also interesting is our whole thing now, and again, the idea of rebirth here, and the birthday being 5-5. I'm going to tell you something here that's pretty nuts actually, and I can't remember. I can't remember the number jump, darn it. Maybe we can go and try and put it in. Let's go try put it in because it's pretty interesting. Okay, and we're going to be going from I think it was, now this is the problem when you get so many numbers. Okay, so I'm going to show you the first one. It's already in the calculator. Okay, May the 5th, we'll go 88 days. It's going to take you to August the 1st. So we're 4 days on inclusive from 729. Okay, and again, on that fold line is 8-1 with the nose and the eyes. Okay, now also remember that what do I want to say? I'm going to show you one of the other folds here in a minute, where the two other sides come together. Okay, and I'm going to show you another set of numbers there, which is an 8-1 again, but I'm going to show you it in just a second. Okay, so I'm kind of more excited about 8-1 actually than 729, and it may just be because 729's already kind of had that one big event on it with Diana and Charles, but I don't know. I really don't know how things are going to play out, to be quite honest. I mean, tons of interesting days all the way through. 29, 30, 730, 731, and 8-1 are all really interesting numbers. Let me see if I can do this number jump. So what is interesting, May 5th, now let's put in the 122 that's below that other line, and let's see if it does it. Yes, it does. September the 4th. Okay, now remember, this year Easter Sunday was, so the Resurrection Day, pretty sure, was it Easter Sunday this year? I'm pretty sure Easter Sunday was the 9th of April, so 4-9. Okay, now for people that aren't American, you're not going to know what the reference to September the 4th is. Obviously it's a 4-9 reference again, like Easter Sunday, but it is Labor Day. I think they have it up in Canada as well, but if you are American, if you are from the USA, you will know that the first Monday in September is Labor Day. Now, it's supposedly something to do with workers, of course, but the idea of labor, and this is probably why it's done, has got really nothing to do with workers at all. It's about marking the day of birth here, okay, or a reference back to a day of birth. Okay, so this is completely mental that 122 that's in the dollar bill now, with the 5-5 at the top, will take us to this year in particular, actually, because it does flip-flop around a little bit depending on what day that Monday falls on. But it takes us to Labor Day. You know, when you go into labor and you give birth, okay? So that is pretty mental in its own right, okay? And again, if you're not American, you won't really know about that one, okay? There's one other really mental thing that happens, right, with this whole thing. I wonder if I can get rid of some of this or not. I wonder how far it'll let me delete back. Okay, and I mentioned the Madonna thing. Die Another Day with the 1022 as well, and the Paris train crash with the 1022, and you know, this sort of it being repeated. I now think that there is that idea being repeated over again in films. The idea of the train going over the cliff. But anyway, when you look at this now, okay, and you concertina down this section here and this section here out of the way, right? What is really interesting now is you'll end up, what you can do is as you unconcertina that thing, what you'll actually see is if you do it the right way, and it really would help if I could just show people this with an actual, I'll try and explain it, but I really need to do a video of actually somebody filming me do this. But what you actually do is the way that concertina is down, right, as you fold, because you don't actually have a fold line, you don't actually need to fold this line right here at all, okay? This line here is just where this line, this bottom part comes up to, okay? So you don't actually need to fold that there, okay? But you do have a fold right here and right here, okay? If I describe it, as you pull, once this is up, once this is folded out of the way, this middle part, and you unfold it, what you end up seeing is Washington's head emerges first, okay, and then you see his eyes, okay, and at that point, if you were to look at the side of the dollar bill, it would look something like this, actually, okay, and Washington's eyes would be right here, and the top of the head is here, and you can see, so what you're seeing is, this is folding up out this way, okay, it's going from like this, okay, and it's folding up. And so what you see is the head emerging first, then the eyes, and then the rest of the head. So the top of the head, sorry, the crown first, interestingly enough, and then the eyes, and then the top of the head. So it's almost like he's popping out, okay? So that is pretty interesting, the way that thing unfolds again, okay? And again, you know, he's crowning, and at 8-1, at 8-1, is he going to pop out? You know, at 8-1, is he going to pop out of there? I don't know. What else do I want to say about this thing? Because this is probably already an hour long, I expect, this video. There are a couple of other interesting numbers that do show up, okay? And I'm going to actually, let's go through them now. To do with the 8-5 again, okay? Because this is, again, the 8-5's down here and down here. But also, we've got a 13 over here. Again, 13 is M in the alphabet, Mary. And then over here, we actually have, oh, this is interesting as well. We actually have 5 leaves and 4 berries. So we have 5 leaves and 4 berries, 45 or 54. And I thought that was interesting with the M over here for Mary, and then over this side, if you just did your alphabet, D is 4, okay, A, B, C, D, 4, and then E is 5, okay. But what I thought was more interesting is you just flip them round, what you end up with is Ed. Oh geez. You end up with Ed, which is, and you also end up with deed, repeated. The deed, yes, the deed. I need to do a natural law video and talk about deeds and property tax and everything else, because yeah, the deed is a fictional idea. But you end up with M and Ed, okay, and I just thought it was interesting because of the Wicker Man. and 88 Finished and Porus's Decodes with the Wicker Man and Ed. Oh, what the hell? What am I saying? Edward Woodward. Okay, that guy. Okay, who plays the Wicker Man. Okay, I just thought it was interesting. Okay, but again, if you add those two lots up, when I say add those two lots up, when you add those 5 leaves over here to the 3 over here, of course that's 8, and then you've got 5 berries and 1 berry, which is 85. So you have another 85 reference, you know, right here with these numbers. Okay, and of course if you go from 55 to 80 and then add on the 85, that's going to take us to 729. And then if you want to go to the actual birth of man, I guess, I don't know, you're going to add on 88 instead. Okay. So I think that's just about it for these folds here. Let me show you. Actually, let's just do it, because it actually only takes a second. I'll show you how you do this actually. What you do is the little guy here, get on the corner of here, and we'll cut this out, and we're going to go straight down through his fold marker, which is the little dude. Okay, and then we'll move that over, so that's essentially folding that side over to this side. Okay, that's what we end up with, right? And then I can get rid of this other rubbish here. That's what I should have just done instead of messing around trying to find something. I can't remember what I entitled it. Let's just get rid of that. Select, delete. Okay, this is better for us to look at now. Should we move it to the middle of the screen? This is probably winding some people up watching my terrible computer skills. But anyway, you can see that one side, for new people, you can see it matches. I haven't got it matched up perfectly, but it does match up. The shield joins up with the O, and again, this shield represents the number 1, and the O is the metaphysical, and this is the two sides of reality coming back together in balance. 10-11. Okay, that's that 10-11 I was just saying about Eve Jeffers. Yeah, her birthday. And I think it was, don't quote me on it, but I think she might have been born 81, or might not been, I don't know. Anyway, where is this 18, Dan? Okay, because what we got here is we do have a whole bunch of numbers. Of course, we've got 11-11, and 11-11 is in, let me go a different color. 11-11 is in, of course, 11-11 is at the Hoover Dam. We've got the dam face here, and then we've got the 2 lots of inlet towers back in the water there. I've turned that around the way. Should be. Hang on a minute. Let me show you this again. The dam more like this, okay, and it's, of course, it's a shield, remember. So, and then the 11-11 is back behind there with the inlet towers, okay. And of course 11-11, First World War, Remembrance Sunday, 11th hour, 11th minute of 11th hour of 11th day of the 11th month. Okay, it's been done, right? But 11-11, this is a balancing day, okay? It's the 315th day of the year if you watch my stuff, okay? And the day before that, so we're kind of going through this decode again. This is an old decode, by the way, is Pi, okay? It's Pi Day, okay? And that's the 314th day of the year, which just happens to be, if you flip this around, this is the number 1, okay? This is the number 0, 10-11, with the 11 inside, 10-11 the 10th of November is the 314th day of the year, okay? The pie. Bye-bye Miss American Pie, right? So, where do I want to go with this decode, okay? So when we've done that, so if we do the, so this is where I was like getting excited ages ago about the 155-day jump taking us to 213 to the 13th of February. Okay, I was going mental about that because of that 155-day jump between them, and you know, you move this side to this side, that 150, you do the 155-day jump, and we've got to there, you know. Well, of course, there's another date right here, okay, and what we have a little bit of stuff going on here, okay, because there's multiple levels of meaning with this stuff, and depending on the context, you can use, you know, a certain symbol to explain a different, to have a slightly different meaning, right? So like when I'm looking at this now, this shield, right, could also be the dam, you know, just how I just drew it there in its fundamental form, you know, is a womb, is the dam, is a shield, okay? You'll see it on the penny as well, that shield, okay? So that's also the dam, and then this again, the O, the Vesica Pisces, the hole which you get born out of. The O also represents the divine feminine. You know, it's all the same idea, the spiritual. These two things here can potentially represent the matrix on one side and the Holy Spirit on the other side, coming back together in balance. I don't know, but what we've got going on is we've got this phallic symbol right here going into this thing, okay, up here, either the matrix or you know, the Holy Spirit, if you want. So this thing, this is the, you know, the, I guess the dual nature as well of the metaphysical. You know, if you're not in balance, then you can have a controlling matrix. If you are in balance, you can have the Holy Spirit with you. It depends. It depends on how you balance, basically. But we have the number one here, the phallic symbol, again with the two balls. Excuse, you know, the crudity here, but this is the penis and the nuts, okay? And you know, again, how many times is this referenced in Back to the Future? Loads. You know, old man Peabody and his pines, yeah, pines. If I could write it out, pines. Okay, pines, anagram it, okay. Old man Peabody, the Peabody, okay, pretty interesting. The pinhead, the injection. So what I want to say about this is the 1 and this is the 8 here, okay? That's the 8. Now, what's interesting about 1, 8, let's go to the thing so I can write this down correctly, is, if we go to August the 1st, it is the 213th day of the year. 152 days left. So, okay, let's look at this, because there's something special here. This is a really deep hidden code, okay? So we have our 213 right here. Oh, that's interesting. That is this date, the 213th day of the year, and with 152 days remaining. Okay, there's our 5-2 again. You know, this is the importance of this number. It's been re-referenced so many times. Well, it's at the bottom of the dollar bill here. Let me explain why that is at the bottom of the dollar bill. Okay, remember, this thing here is a portrait frame. Okay, if you look at this first one, let me get rid of some of this other rubbish in a minute. Okay, so we're looking at decoding 152 in here now. Okay, this is a portrait frame. Washington appears on two pieces of currency right now. Okay, the dollar bill, which he's facing forward on. Okay, a forward-facing portrait frame right here. If we look at the portrait frame, this portrait frame from the side, notice these sort of wave bits coming over this way now. This is a side portrait. Okay, this is what this is referencing. This is front on and this is side. Okay, side on. So front on, he's in the $1 bill. Okay. Side on, he is in this thing. Okay. The quarter, 25 cents. Now, just simply, you know, we've been reading everything else backwards this way. Just read this number backwards now. Okay. Forget the zeros. We're just doing numerology. 1, 5, 2. 152. Say it. 152. 152. Okay, just read it backwards. 152. Okay, the 152 days left in the year. Now that is pretty mental. Okay, with this 8-1. Okay, so that is, you know, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, to be quite honest. It's just absolutely nuts, right? So I'm probably going to leave it there for this one, because if I go any further, we'll just be here forever. What do I want to say about what day do I think? I think it's going to be I think it'll be the 1st. But again, the death really is kind of going into the matrix. Okay, so I don't know really whether it makes sense that Madonna, realistically, the death and the rebirth, can you delay it for three or 4 days, depending on what kind of ritual you're doing. I know the Hoover Dam, the wall coming down, okay, is the birth, right? I don't know what else to show you about this set of numbers. Basically 729 through to 8-1 or 1-8, but take your pick really of what day. It's either going to be on the 29th or the 1st. I don't know, you know. If I were guessing from these decodes. Now, of course, I've shown so many other decodes. Everything ties together, but where does the buck stop? As Truman would say. I'm not sure where the decodes stop on this thing. Yeah, but there is your, you know, the 1118 again. The 1118 is in here. It's right here. Actually, it's right here, and it's right here with the, you know, I mean, however you want to look at it. Okay. I'm going to save my number jumps for a different video. Okay, I showed you the one through to Labor Day, and I showed you the 55, of course, 55 plus 88. And you know what I should do? Let's just whip to the what I want to do. I want to go to this. Okay, let's save that. I think we're done with everything on there. I hope I'm not forgetting anything vitally important. Don't save it. I was just thinking of myself there. Okay, again, here's the center of the table. For new people, this is all balancing numbers. It's all about numbers that they progress outwards, but at the same time they repeat a lot. It's really weird, and there's this kind of growth with it, you know, with these numbers. But at the same time, you can spot the repeating patterns basically, and it's all about balance. So what, you know, you can look at certain different patterns in here, and we can pick certain things out. But what I was saying earlier, again, 7th column is all to do with, and these were the 3 towers here. So, you know, it's interesting that you'll see a lot of times, you know, 5 is linked with 1 with Mayday. You know, 6-1 is linked a lot. I've seen a ton of 6-1s lately, and a lot of 16s. The reason why 16 is important again is it's the golden ratio. Okay, 1.618. Okay, and this whole table is built off the golden ratio basically. And here's another one. Okay, again, 17. Again, that's a pretty in fact wasn't yeah, actually I can't remember that. I don't know, let's not even say it. Can't remember what I was gonna say is right or not. But here's our 729. Okay, 7th column, 29. And remember, 55 plus 88 is it's actually 143. Okay, but because of the discrepancy with the number line here at the top of the table, it also equals 139 in kind of the next step on in the table. Okay, and it's a difference of 4, so there's a missing 4 here. Okay, again back with quarters again. And what's interesting about that is what was I going to say that was interesting about that? This 139 shows up in a couple of other spots in the table, and of course it shows up if we cross-reference it back to 59 here. Okay, and it also shows up with our number jumps that I was doing in some earlier decodes here. Again, this 59 that we were coming to with the 9th of May, you know, this number also shows up right here as well. So everything's linked. But some of these other numbers that show up in the table, let me just do the, you know, let's just randomly talk about this for just a couple more minutes. Hey, if Journeyman, if you've made it to the end of this video, you're watching, this is this decode I was going to show you, I talked about the other day, okay? I've been meaning to do a video on it. I'll just throw it in here now real quick. Because this is the center of the table, right? And this is actually a number 11 that's right at the center. We can take a 1 off of each side of these two numbers here, the 11 and the 18. I was like, I wonder if you did the number line, if you started the number line and actually put the 0 between here, because this is really where the 0 is, and then you started going out either direction, which would give you this number 11 at the center of the table as well. And so I was like, well, just do a number line like this, okay? And then you can start seeing how certain numbers combine again with one another, like 5 and 1, 5, 10, 6, 11, yeah, the reverse of 9, 11, and so forth, and you know, so on. 8, 1, 3, yeah, 9, 1, 4, okay. So I mean, it was just really interesting, and of course I went backwards, and of course you would normally put a negative symbol with these numbers here, but really they're just reflections. The only reason for putting a negative symbol there is to just indicate that that's a reflection. Okay, and of course you saw, right now you can see like some of these numbers, like the 5 and the 1, stick together pretty good, and the 3 and the 3, if the 3 and the 3, There's a 60, and of course you could do a negative number here in the number line, and of course that shows up with 7. And again, pretty interesting. But the only number that's a repeat, that's a twin number here, is 33. So that was, I thought that was pretty mental as well, as a sort of a decode. There's 42, 24, you know, I mean, but when you do that, the 33 is the only, you know, duplicate twin number. Interesting, isn't it? Super interesting. I don't know. Anyway, let's get rid of all that. I thought that'd be interesting. You know, I just chuck it in there. Where else am I going to do it? Have I exhausted everything here? Again, with Madonna and her potential death date. Again, her numbers, right here. And I shouldn't really draw over them so you can actually see them. But you can flip that, rotate that around, and that's all of her numbers right there. Okay, that 9 becomes a 6 when you rotate round, and also her numbers show up here. So again, 155 days on in the year right here, and again you can take that 1 off of there, and we have like a mirror. So the 29th looks good according to like this right here. That looks pretty good, promising for like a reflective date for Madonna's death, the 155th day of the year, which is again 7/29. Which again, 7/29, it's coming right through, you know, her stuff. You know, in fact, it's actually, I don't know, it links into her stuff pretty good. But who knows? Who really knows? I don't know. Was there anything else that I wanted to share with you about this? There was one other interesting thing. There's another hidden 122 in here, which is right here. When you add up all these numbers right here up to 47 and including 47, this comes to 122. Okay, this is just something the table does. Any number that you see in here, bar the number line, there is a counterpart number 1 less than the displayed number. Okay, and you just have to jump back over 1 place in order to find that number, which is 122 in this case, 1 less than 123, and you just jump back over, you do a leap over, and you get back to that date. But anyway, it's interesting. There's 28 here. Okay, cross-reference back to the 47, again Independence Day, the 122, and again with Madonna, she does have in the Ghost Town video a 82 reference there right at the end of that video, and of course 82 again is a flip of 85. So you know, it's just round in circles, but it's just another interesting little reference there. I've got some more interesting number jumps that tie into that 122 as well, but I'm going to leave it for today. I'm going to call that the end of the video because I've waffled enough. Hopefully you made it to the end. But, you know, who the hell knows? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. I'm sure I've probably missed something out of here. The end. That 55 goes with the 10, you know. The 55 goes with the 11, you know. The 55, oh, the 33 is what's missing between those two there. Okay, 33 is between these two. Okay, so super important. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on next one. All right, cheers. All right, bye.